Hey guys, it's Hannah. You read the title correctly. I did get arrested while on a date. There is just a lot of tea to spill, but basically the background story for this is about a year ago, and I was dating my ex-boyfriend. He had moved out of our city to go to college in another city. I went up to visit him once he moved up there, about like a week or two after he moved. It was around the end of our relationship, so we were going through a rough time, to say the least. So I was just really, the whole point of this trip was just to make light out of a really shitty situation. Before I got arrested, I was staying with my grandma in this city that I was visiting. We had gone to visit with my grandma, and we were gonna go out after I visited with her. The original plan was to go to a party. I was a crazy girlfriend. I knew that I probably would have acted out at this party, and I think he knew that too. So he was like, no, like, we don't have to go to the party. And I was like, yeah, but I want to. And he goes, no, we're not going to the party. So I was like, okay, fine, whatever. I'm still gonna spend time with him. So like, I didn't care. While we're at my grandma's house, his phone is just blowing up with messages. It was just a bunch of messages from his friends, like just stuff that like made me upset just because of the fact that I was visiting, and they were basically just like, fuck your girlfriend, come to the party. When we left my grandma's house, I had a huge panic attack because I knew that everything was going wrong, and then that happened, and that just made me even more mad. You know, your friends are like fucking assholes, and I just want to have a good time, and I can't because I feel like I was holding him back from having a good time and just going to the party with his friends. And I was freaking out, and I cried a lot. I had just had basically a fucking full-ass breakdown. After I calmed down, after we talked it out, I put my makeup on, and then we went to go hang out. So this area of the city, it was like their downtown area. I know every city kind of has like a downtown area where there's just lots of buildings and lights, and it just looks nice. We were going downtown, and I was trying to find a place to park. And it's hard to find a place to park because its area is really small. A lot of the parking is either you have to have a permit to park there because it's really close to the college, or you have to pay to park. So we were trying to just find free parking that was accessible. He was kind of falling asleep in the passenger seat because it was late, and it was really exhausting what we had just gone through. There were so many one-way streets in this fucking city, and I went the wrong way down one of them. Literally, as I turned the corner, the cop was just sitting there waiting for me. Came face to face with the cop car. I'm like, shit, the lights just went on, like the sirens and everything, and I was like, cool, cool, all right. I like tried to keep my calm. I was like, okay, like, don't fuck this up. Like, in my mind, I was like, I have to hang out with my boyfriend. I have to hang out with him. I have to like make up for all this shitty stuff that's been happening lately. And I was like, I just want to ignore everything bad that's happened, and I just want to have a good time. Like, I'm not here to get in some fucking trouble. And then I got pulled over. So when the cop pulled me over, he asks me why I went the wrong way. And I was like, I'm not from here. I didn't know it was a one-way street, and I didn't see the signs. It's really dark out, so like, I'm sorry. And he goes, okay, well, give me your ID. I go to look for my ID. I don't have my ID. So I'm like, oh fuck. I was like, okay, well, I don't have it in here. The whole time my ex is just sitting in the seat like, really? And the whole time I'm just thinking, he could be at a party, he could be having fun with his friends, but he's right here with me getting pulled over in the shittiest fucking situation ever. Like, okay, I don't have my ID. I was like, I think I left it at my grandma's house. I'm staying with her right now. And he goes, okay, well, I can just look you up. So then I'm sitting there like, fuck, like, I'm gonna get a ticket. Like, I'm just stressing out about just like a ticket, right? Like, just a ticket. No. It's worse than a fucking ticket. New background story. At this point, I had been driving for 2 years. And in those 2 years, I had gotten like 4 different tickets. Actually, I had 3 tickets. Okay, I had 3 tickets. 2 were for speeding, and 1 was for driving a car with expired registration. I am a horrible adult. I don't know how to fucking do anything. I didn't know that I had to go to court for my tickets. I didn't know that I had to pay them off. I just thought, oh, it's like a warning, right? Like, I don't fucking know. I just never thought I would be the type to get a ticket to begin with, so I never thought about it. I never thought, like, what do you do if you get a ticket? I completely ignored that I had tickets, and they went into warrant status. Didn't know that could happen. I had no idea. That like really threw me off. I was like, wow, like they're looking for me, like they want to arrest me. Because of the fact that I had 3 tickets in warrant status, I think that probably had something to do with the fact that my license was suspended. When the cop came back to the car, Oh fuck. So the cop came back to the car. He is like, okay, bad news. Like, I'm thinking it's gonna be like this expensive ass ticket or something that I have to take care of. No. It was beyond what I could have ever imagined. Your license is suspended. You're driving without a license and the license is suspended, so you're not even supposed to be driving, period. And on top of that, I have 3 warrants out for my arrest because of the 3 fucking tickets. And I'm like, cool. So I'm going to have to arrest you. And I'm like, oh. I look over at my ex and he's just like, he doesn't even know what to do with himself. I'm just trying to make light out of such a shitty situation that was happening at the time. Just trying to like ignore all the bad and just have a good time. And this was the complete opposite of a good time. This was a bad time. Okay, that's cool. Like, let's go to jail. Okay. Immediately, I'm crying because I'm just embarrassed. I'm upset that I let this happen, basically, and I was just crying. I mean, the cop was asking my ex for his stuff too, so luckily he had just gotten his license before he moved up to the city, and he could drive my car away so it didn't get fucking towed. Thanks. My ex took my car and drove away. And I'm in this cop car and he's trying, like, there's 2 cops and they're trying to have like casual conversation with me, like asking how it's been going and like how everything is, and they're like asking me for my personal information, and like I'm sobbing, handcuffed in the back of their fucking car. Like, I am so upset right now. The last thing I want to do is have a casual fucking conversation. You guys just fucking arrested me. Is this real? Like, are you really trying to talk to me like this right now? I just assume, right, that they're gonna take me to jail real quick, the police station or whatever it is. No, it would not be that easy. It would not be that easy to just get in and out of this fucking situation. We're driving around for about like 10 to 15 minutes and then we stop. And I'm like, okay, this is it, right? No. And then they tell me to stand up against the car. They're switching out my handcuffs. They said, oh, these are a pair of more comfortable handcuffs. They were the same fucking handcuffs, like just from a different officer. I was like, okay, like, thanks. I was really confused as to where we were because I'm not familiar with the city. They were basically just switching me from a cop car to like those big cop vans. And then there's like a bunch of space in the back. There's like benches in the back for you to sit on. There's like a divider in the middle of the back of the van. So like you can put a bunch of people in there and they'll be divided so they can't talk to each other. Like, does that make sense? I hope it does. Like, that's the only way to explain it. I'm sitting in my little compartment on my bench. It's cold as fuck. And I have a t-shirt on and leggings. They lace up like a corset, like all the way up my leg. And I'm wearing flip-flops. Okay, next stop is jail, right? Like, why? Why would it be jail? Like, why the fuck would the universe go easy on you? You're going through the worst time of your life. This is gonna be a shitty experience, right? We stop again. I hear a bunch of struggling outside the van, and all of a sudden they open the other side, but I can't see it because there's like a wall, but they're opening the other side. I can hear it. You just hear this fucking lady like yelling, so mad. She's like screaming at her boyfriend, I guess. And she's just sitting back there like, Josh, why did you let this happen? Josh, why the fuck are you doing this? Like, fuck you, Josh. Like, and she's talking to herself. She's just like, just wait until I get out of here. Like, this is brutality. Like, she's just freaking the fuck out. And from what I can hear, I can just imagine that her and her boyfriend got into an argument. They were both fucked up and somebody threw a fucking brick through the window and that alarmed the neighbors. So that's why the cops were called. She was just mad because Josh didn't get in trouble and she did. And then she goes, is anybody else in here? And I was like sobbing silently to myself. But as soon as she said that, I was just super quiet and she was just talking to herself and just freaking out. And then the cops come in at one point and they're like, they come back in and they're trying to talk to her and she goes, I'll have you know that my brother-in-law is the chief of police in Philadelphia, which is on the other side of the country from where we currently are. Like, my brother-in-law is a part of the force. Like, don't fuck with me. Like, you're gonna have a lawsuit on your hands. They're like, he can't do anything. He's in Philadelphia. Like, this is a completely different city. So we finally leave. We do end up at the jail. We just kind of like sit on a bench in the hallway. They have, I guess, like a nurse. She's like checking our vitals basically. And then they asked me questions. They were like, what were you doing tonight? Were you impaired? And I was 20 years old at the time, so I was underage. And they were like, have you had anything to drink tonight? I said no. And they go, do you drink? And I said no. And then the fucking cop, he's standing above me and he looks at me like, he goes, you don't drink? really? And I was like, yes, really? Like, are you fucking kidding me right now? As a 20-year-old, why the fuck would I tell you that I drink? So I can get in more trouble? I didn't drink very frequently at the time, so I wasn't like lying. I do not want to get in more trouble because I heard what happened with that lady. Like, she was in a lot of trouble because of the problems that she gave the officers, and she was gonna be spending days in jail, and I was not gonna fucking do that. I was just trying to be as civil as I possibly could be, no attitude, no weird faces. When they're done with that, they took me into the first room. It was the room that they took my mugshot in. This whole time I've had handcuffs on, and so I can't move my hair out of my face. But I was wearing contacts. My hair was in my face like this. Like, the actual individual strands of hair were getting caught in my eye. And when you have contacts in, that shit is so uncomfortable. It hurts. You think your contacts are going to fall out. Like, there's so much that is going wrong in this moment. He goes, do you need help moving your hair out of your face? And I said, yes, please. But there were like maybe like 2 strands of hair on this side in my face. So instead of moving the hairs out of this eye, he fucking just brushes these hairs out and he goes, okay, look at the camera. I was still crying. I was crying even more because my hair was in my eye. So he goes to take the mugshot and he says, just look at the camera. It took them 5 times to take this fucking mugshot because every time I looked at the camera, I just looked down. I was so embarrassed because I had just done my makeup before we left to go out that night. And I had been crying this whole time, so I knew my makeup was all over my fucking face. And they were like, if you don't look at the camera, you're going to cause some problems. Before I went in, they were like, okay, your shirt is fine, but you need to change your pants and you need to put on socks. Well, my t-shirt had Selena on it. So I had a Selena t-shirt on with blue scrub pants and bright ass orange, like neon orange socks. And after that, they were like, okay, we're on lockdown right now, so we're gonna put you in the holding cell. What could possibly be going on at like midnight at this point? I'm in a jail that is on lockdown. I didn't say anything. I didn't ask any questions. I just said, okay. And he walked me to the holding cell. The holding cell is just like this big empty room. I was in there with like 8 or 9 other people. The weekend that this happened is the weekend that Burning Man was happening, and if you don't know what Burning Man is, it's just this huge festival. So all of these people in this fucking holding cell were like drug addicts who were on the way to Burning Man and got caught in their cars with drugs, and that's why they were there. This is not where I want to be. I just got a couple of tickets, y'all. I think we were in there, I have to say, for like an hour, hour and a half. Everybody's cold. The cops came in every once in a while to just like update us or to like call some of the girls out to do their paperwork. And then there was one point where they came in and one of the girls was like, it's really cold. Can we have like a sweatshirt or like a blanket or something? He said blankets are a safety hazard and they don't have sweatshirts. So no. She asked, okay, well then can I just get a pair of socks so I can put them on my arm? And the cop literally looked at her like, and then he just fucking slammed the door shut. He did not even give her an answer. They finally let us out into like the waiting room area because all I wanted to do at this point was talk to my boyfriend at the time. Outside of the holding cell, you like walk into another room basically, and it's just this big spacious room. Over here is like the people who do the paperwork and stuff, so they're all behind their desks over in this area. On the opposite side is where all the police officers are sitting at their desk area. And then there's a spot in the middle, it's kind of like taped off so we know where we're allowed to be. And it's just like a bunch of chairs and everybody sits in a chair. There's like a TV on so you can watch TV, and then there's phones all lined up against the wall. And they told us, you know, you're not allowed to step outside of the tape. If you step outside of the tape, you'll be in more trouble. I went to the phone, I made my phone call, I called my boyfriend at the time. As soon as I heard him answer, I was like crying. Like, I was so embarrassed that I had to call my boyfriend from jail. Please come get me. I don't want to be here. I just want to go home. Like, come get me. Just come now. But here's some really fun tea. So his phone was not working at the time. It was just busted. Once he got the call from me, I guess he was like trying to get in contact with my grandma. I tried to call her, but it went straight to voicemail. So I left her a voicemail and told her what happened. So during this time, I'm just sitting there waiting, and then they call my name and they say that my grandma called and she's trying to get in contact with me so I can call her back. So I called her and she's like, what happened? And I told her, and she goes, Hannah, like, come on. And I'm like, I know, but like, it doesn't change the fact that I'm here right now. Like, can you please help me? And then I thought that someone had called my name to do like the paperwork or something. And so I like looked around and they didn't repeat themselves. So then I like kind of stood up, and I was in the back row of chairs that was right by the line of tape that I wasn't supposed to pass. So when I stood up to look around, I was on the tape. A police officer walks right past me and he's like, "What are you doing?" I just started crying. Like, I couldn't even talk. Like, I couldn't tell him that I thought they called my name. So I stood up to see if they called my name. He's like, "What? You need to stop crying or you're gonna get in more trouble." And I'm like, I'm gonna get in trouble because I'm crying? So that scared me even more, and I'm still sobbing, and I think he got the point. Like, I am so scared. I'm not supposed to be here. And he said, "No, nobody called you. You need to listen better. Go sit down." And I was like, okay, thanks. Like, okay, sorry. At this point, like, I got arrested around 10 or 11 at night. It was like 4 in the morning. They call me back to this other table that's like behind me, and it was this lady, and she's like, "Well, I need to give you a shot for tuberculosis in case you're in here for more than 48 hours. I'm not gonna be here for more than 48 hours. And I hate needles. I hate shots. She did what she had to do. She did it, and I was just crying. And eventually they called me to leave. I had called my ex and my grandma around like 2 in the morning or so, and I didn't get out of there until like 7 or 8 in the morning. So I called my grandma. She was waiting at like a gas station across the street. So she just came and picked me up and we had a talk. On my way out, I was like looking at the paperwork that they were sorting through, and I saw my mugshot. Oh, when you see the movies and like the cartoons and they have like actual streaks of just like straight black makeup like on their cheeks, I had it all on my cheeks. My lipstick was smeared. It was fucking hilarious. And it's weird because like to this day, I have looked everywhere for this mugshot and I couldn't find it. Like, they'll probably keep it on my record, but like they don't like just have it publicly available. I don't know. My grandma picked me up, we talked, and then she's like, "Yeah, your boyfriend is on his way." So we met him in the parking lot of the jail, and I just remember seeing him get out of my car. I was so happy. It was so relieving seeing him because it was such a shitty situation. And I just remember being like, oh my God, I have fucked this all up. And this is the worst time of my entire life. Like, not just the jail, it's everything that's fucking happening. Like, everything. And I saw him. Just relief overwhelmed me. I ran up to him and I hugged him and like we talked. I was so embarrassed still. I'm so sorry. Like, I shouldn't have gotten you into this. Like, I don't know what I was doing. I don't know what I was thinking. I had no idea that this would happen. Like, I couldn't apologize enough. There were no words that could explain how fucking embarrassed I was. At this point, we had been together for a long time, so I know that he knew about the ticket. And he had waited up all night just waiting for me to get out, which was nice. My grandma too, so you know, at least I have supportive people regardless of the fact that like I fucking suck. That's pretty much the story of how I got arrested when I went on a date. Me and this guy are no longer together, and I'm sure that this will be an experience he will never forget. It's funny now, and I'm never gonna let that happen again. Like, I don't belong in jail. There were so many bad fucking people in there and so much like weird shit that happened. Like, I was not ever gonna put myself in that situation ever again. At that guy, I'm sorry for putting you in such a shitty situation. And my grandma, like, sorry, I didn't mean to disappoint you. That's pretty much it. If you want to see more storytime videos like this, go ahead and like this video for me. You can always subscribe as well if you really liked it. Turn on the notification bell so that way you get notified when I do upload. And I'll leave all of my social media handles below. See you next time. Bye, guys.